What's up, Lazy Dog fam? Hope everybody out there is having an awesome day. We just got back from a 3-day weekend camping trip about 3 hours away on the Georgia coast. And when you leave for that long, you come back, it always seems like there's so much to do in the garden. I got the grass cut earlier today. That takes about an hour and a half, but now it's time to focus on the garden, and we got a lot to do before it gets dark this afternoon. Item number 1 on the list is to do a mass harvest on these 4 rows of brassicas right here. Now, yes, some of these probably could stand to stay out here another week or two, but it looks like it's getting hot quick, and these things are just gonna suffer. So we're gonna put them out of their misery. We're gonna get what we can get out of here and then probably mow it down. I'm ready to plant them peanuts in here, so it's time to get all this stuff out. I got several baskets in my buggy here. I'm sure we're gonna fill up those and some more. We're gonna start off with these Napa cabbages right here, and then we'll go to the Savoy cabbages, and then that second row, your more kind of standard cabbages. Now, I learned a hard lesson on these Napa cabbages this spring, and that was that these things cannot take being sprayed with oil-based insecticides. It happened to me, and I had a couple other viewers say it happened to them as well. For some reason, Napa cabbages don't care for it. All the rest of the cabbages are fine, but man, it really burns the outer leaves on these guys. But if we get in here, I'll show you, we do got some pretty good looking heads. We just kind of got to peel them back a little bit. So we go ahead and cut that off there. Kind of peel back these rough looking leaves. Maybe get a few more off of there. Man, if I had some chickens, they would love this stuff here. But that's pretty good looking head of Napa cabbage right there. That's pretty dense. This is pretty heavy, and nothing wrong with that. That's good eating right there. So once we peel back all this kind of dead looking stuff, we actually got something good there. And that's the last one right there. A little over a basket full. Some of them ended up looking kind of small once we peeled back the bad leaves, but still not bad there. These things are pretty heat sensitive, so I'm gonna get these underneath the barn and then we'll bag them up and put them in the fridge later. Bring that basket over here, Ty. Put the basket right there. Okay, you stand right over here. And I'm gonna hand them to you, okay? Is this a big one? You gonna get this one?
Yeah.
It's a pretty good one, isn't it? You know what these cabbages are called?
Yeah.
Superstar.
Why?
I don't know, that's just what they're called. Here you go. Put it in the basket. Don't throw it. Don't throw it. You gotta lay it in there real soft, like a little baby. You lay it in there real soft.
No. I can't throw it.
Only you can throw it. Don't throw it. That's all you can do is throw it, huh?
Yeah. I can throw it. I can throw it.
Only you can throw it. You can't lay it down, can you?
No.
All you can do is throw it. Okay. If they bust, it's on you, buddy. What if they bust? Is that gonna be Ty-Ty's fault?
No.
No?
They're not going to bust.
They're not gonna bust?
No.
Alright, so me and Ty-Ty got the Superstar cabbage and that Caribbean Queen tropical cabbage out there. Left a few small ones out there, but we got most of the ones that are worth cutting up. My best one would be like this guy right here. Decent sized cabbage. You know, a little smaller than a basketball. Most of them are smaller than that. And I have to say, the Superstar is all right variety. None of these still beat the Cheers in my opinion. That's still my favorite variety of cabbage. These did all right considering the weather they had to deal with. But I still like Cheers the best. And that's all the Savoy cabbage that was worth picking. What's interesting, this variety, which I think is called Savoy King, I've grown this before and it made a normal round head. This time, it made a flattened head. I don't understand it, but all these heads, every single one of them, some of them are pretty good size, like that one, they're all flattened instead of being round. So I don't know what happened, but we got a good little bit there, and this stuff's really good and tender. Cooks down a little faster than your regular cabbage, and this is pretty good raw too. You can make wraps with this stuff. We got a good little harvest of that. The rest of them out there just wasn't worth picking, and they're gonna meet the fate of the lawnmower in a minute. And now for the broccoli, which I didn't have a whole lot of faith in and it's probably the most pitiful looking thing out of these 4 rows of brassicas here. Sometimes they'll do all right growing them in the spring like this. Sometimes they don't. Some varieties do better than others. This is a variety called Marathon, and it just did okay. Not great, not as good as I would expect from something like Green Magic, but wanted to give this variety a try. We made some all right heads on some of the plants. You can see right there, that one's not bad, but some of them getting seedy real quick. Like that one doesn't look very good at all. So I think they're going to all get seedy pretty soon, within the next day or two, if they haven't already. So we're going to cut what we can get out of here. There's one, not too bad. So we're just going to clean them all up, get what we can get, big head, small head, and then if it's seedy, we're going to leave it there. And that's all I could salvage right there off that 30-foot row or so. Enough for us to eat for the week. But not a whole lot more than that. You got to be careful with broccoli. You can't get too greedy with it. Trying to wait for those heads to get massive, because then they'll get seedy on you. So you got to kind of be conservative with your harvesting if you want them to taste good. And the last thing to get here before we put the shredder on these 4 rows is this cauliflower, which probably did best of anything out here, considering what these plants have dealt with the seesaw temperatures. And yes, I could have wrapped them up and kept them from getting as yellow, but we're not selling these. We're just eating them ourselves, and they taste the same whether they got a little bit of sun yellowing on them or not. So we're gonna come in here and get all these guys, big, little, small. Go ahead and get them out of the way so we can get this cleaned up. And we might actually have enough to share right here. That's a pretty good one. Most of these are kind of snack size, but we've been eating some already. They're pretty good, and we'll do some damage on these guys, but probably have enough there to give away a couple bags too. And now it's shredding time. And that there, folks, is how you do some easy brassica cleanup. Still got a few piles at the end of the row where it kind of bunched up in front of the mower, but we'll rake those out into the grass right there, let them break down. We don't have to worry about our drip tape because it's buried there beneath the row, so it's still intact. So now all we got to do is rip up that tape, cultivate that area a little bit. Probably won't even need a tiller, probably can just do it with a wheel hoe. Put the tape back down, and we'll be ready to plant some peanuts in a few days. Now for all those brassicas we just harvested, what I'll do is I'll just bag them up and put them in the fridge so we give them away or eat them all. Do not wash these things unless you got a long time to let them dry before putting them in the fridge. We just put them in the fridge dry, not washed. They really don't need a whole lot of washing anyway. But if you put them in a bag wet, they're not going to last very long. We use these bags right here. I buy these rolls off of Amazon. These things are a lot cheaper than Ziploc bags. And same thing you kind of get at the produce store, in the produce aisle at the grocery store. So what we'll do, and since these are kind of small, I might can fit 2 in each bag, which will work out nice. We'll put 1 in there. Find me another smaller one here. Slide another one down in there. There we go. Works just right. And then I'll just tie a hole in it. Tie a knot in it. And then they store better if you poke a few holes in there, give it a little bit of airflow. And usually most things will store in the fridge up to a week, sometimes longer than that, but usually you can get a week out of stuff. Cabbage, brassicas, stuff like that. Storing it this way works really, really well. I've got a couple of extra fridges out here at the barn that we just use to keep vegetables in. Keep them nice and cool and fresh until we eat them, or like I said, give them away. Now that we got those brassicas harvested and that area cleaned up somewhat, it's time to work on these pole beans here. Now our arch panel trellis by no means is full yet, but we're getting there. And these things, once it got warm and they started growing pretty good, have taken to the trellis pretty well, but I still have to come in here and train them a little bit to get these stragglers back on track like that, so I get some nice foliage on the panel and I don't get, so it doesn't get too hairy here in the middle when it comes harvest time. Now we do have to be a little bit careful when we do this because these things can break fairly easily. Not as bad as English peas, but I'll just kind of run them up through here like that right there, get them back on track. Sometimes I'll run them vertically like this. Sometimes I'll run them horizontally like this guy right here. Just as long as we get them back on track on the trellis there, that's all we're looking to do here. So we don't get all this vine coming out this way and it's all on the panel here. Another reason to do this is so we don't cut a lot of the plant when we're in here weeding alongside these rows. We can keep everything kind of close to the trellis. Helps us keep everything a little cleaner out here where the bare soil is. So if we can get this guy out of the middle of the row and up on this panel here, we'll do a lot better job keeping things clean, weed free. There's one right there we need to get out of here. And the last thing I want to get done this afternoon is to run one more line of string on our Florida weave trellis here. We already got two. For these determinate tomatoes, we can see especially these Roma types or paste tomatoes are already putting on a ton of fruit there. These Tachi and Invincible tomatoes, you can see there, they're loaded up. So I want to make sure we support these branches as they grow and get all that tidied up here real quick. We need to do these peppers over here too. We just got one line on those, but they need another one as well. All right, we got those peppers situated. Well, I tell you, these right here, these Gypsy Peppers, these things are tempting me bad. I know I'm supposed to let them sit here and turn orange to red, but they sure are tempting me. I might be snagging a couple of those the next day or so and stuffing them, throw them on the grill. And we almost got, shoot, you probably get that one, some eating size bell peppers there. So it ain't gonna be long before it's pepper harvesting time. I'll show you the determinants that we did the weave on there. When they get this tall, sometimes it's hard to tell where one plant ends and another one starts, but you just do the best you can working your way through there and just kind of try to bunch up all that foliage there. So you can see it ain't perfect, but it works. And so that's our third line. This post is about 4 feet out of the ground. They'll get as tall as that post. That one there almost is already. So probably 2 more lines of string will do it, and we'll just keep getting them held up as they grow. Now I done worked up enough appetite for a little snack. Let's see if we can find one. Ooh-wee, look at there. Some of them old Sweetheart Grape Tomatoes have turned. Those look pretty good. And looks like there's 3 or 4 right there. Enough for a good little snack. Still not seeing any ripeness on these Mountain Vineyard ones. Just haven't been super impressed with that variety so far. But these Sweethearts here, I mean, look at there. I mean, that's just absolutely loaded. And imagine it's just going to keep doing that as these things grow. Really, really impressed with these guys. Let's get these few ripe ones here and see how they taste. But before we try those, look at these Patio Tomatoes I've got here. I got one of those guys that's right there. These are called little Birdie Tomatoes. They do good in hanging baskets or patio pots, and just been keeping them watered. That's been the tough part. There's a yellow one right there. Looks like it's ready as well. So these ones on the bottom and top are kind of a rosy colored tomato, and then this middle one is a yellow tomato. So let's see how all these compare to one another. So we got our Birdie tomatoes here, our yellow Birdie and our rosy Birdie, and then we got our Sweethearts tomatoes here. Let's start off with the Sweethearts. That's pretty good. Just tastes kind of like your standard cocktail tomato. Nothing that's just going to absolutely blow you away. It's not the best tasting cherry tomato I've ever had in my life. They're really good, and they do seem to be really productive. Let's try these guys. Now, I got something there. That rosy little birdie, that's pretty fine tasting cherry tomato there. I take it over the sweethearts, although you ain't get near as many of them as you are the sweethearts. Now let's try our yellow birdie. So obviously with the yellow tomatoes or orange tomatoes, anything like that, a lot less acidity, more of a sweet, almost citrusy taste to them. I like those. They just don't have that acidic tang I'm kind of looking for. So I'd say the winner out of these three so far would be that rosy little compact tomato there. Although you don't get a ton of them off of it, they're pretty good. So if you've got a little extra basket hanging around, check out some dwarf determinate tomatoes. It might be a good little thing to keep by the porch. I was going to take some of these inside and share them, but I believe they're going to end up getting eat standing out here. Hope you guys enjoyed. Follow me along today while caught up. Feels good to go out of town on vacation, but also feels good to get back and get caught up in the garden on some things. And if we go back to the very beginning with those brassicas, from those varieties I planted, the ones that I was impressed with, I really like that Napa cabbage. I just made a mistake and sprayed it with the wrong thing. And I really like that Candid Charm, I think that's the variety I planted, Candid Charm cauliflower. Those would be my two winners out of that little trial there I did. Didn't care much for the marathon broccoli. The Caribbean Queen cabbage was okay. Superstar cabbage was okay. But nothing wowed me about those. I still like Cheers is the best one there. Let me know what your favorite cabbage, broccoli, and cauliflower varieties are, or if you tried any of the ones we grew here and had better results than we did. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe, ring the bell, like, and share, and we'll see you next time right here at Lazy Dog Farm.
Oh, farewell, by the beauty of your life.